When I walked into the room and I saw my son, I immediately went over to him and I fell out on him because my son was beaten to a pulp. His head was the size of a watermelon.
Sheesh.
His nose was broken. His neck was split open from the swelling. He was bruised from head to toe.
Damn.
It was like they beat the shit out of him.
Oh, shit.
That's what they did.
Oh,
They beat the shit out of my son
oh,
and
ruffling.
left him for dead.
Ruffling.
That's what they did.
Mm.
And Miss Wells, were there other officers in that hospital room when you walked in?
The doctor was there. There were some other officers in there. Once I saw my son and I basically passed out on him, I just laid on him and just started crying. And I just burst out and said, what the fuck is going on here? This does not look like no pepper spray and no tasing. And a police officer took my husband and I out the room. My cousin stayed there and took us into another room. I want to say it was a sergeant or captain, I can't remember. We spoke briefly. And then next thing you know, all of Shelby County police and everybody was out the room. They said TBI had taken over the case. And all the police officers that were there were gone. And so it was just the TBI, the nurses, the doctor, and my husband and my cousin. We were in the room with my son.
When you saw your son, was he ever responsive to you that night?
No. Tyree was not responsive. He was on a breathing machine, and the machine was keeping him alive.
And did you know from the minute you walked in that room that night that your son was gone?
Yes. You couldn't. There's no way my son would have survived from that. He was already deceased, basically. I say they must keep him on those breathing machines for 72 hours. But my son was deceased.
Miss Wells, several days after that, did you get a call like that from the hospital on January 10th informing you of your son's passing?
Yes, I got a call a little after 2 by the same doctor, Charles. I want to say Charles. I can't remember. I meant to look. I can't remember. He said, Mrs. Wells. I said, yes. He said, this is Dr. from St. Francis Hospital. I said, yes. He said, I just called to tell you that I pronounced your son deceased at 1:41 p.m. And I just lost it. I dropped the phone and I lost it. 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 Because the first thing I had to do is try to figure out how I'm going to tell his siblings that their little brother is deceased. That was one of the hardest things that I ever had to do as a mother, is to explain to them. I called my daughter. When I explained it to her, I heard her falling down the stairs. She cracked her nose. And the fact that I'm from California, all my kids still live in California. So it was very difficult to not be there to tell them. I called my middle son, my oldest son, Michael. I told him